Hi, everyone. My name is Melissa Bennett. I'm Curator of Contemporary Art at the Art Gallery of Hamilton. And joining me today is Nora Hutchinson, video artist, performance artist, maker of many things. And she's in her downtown Hamilton studio home. How are you doing today, Nora?
I'm good, Melissa. And how are you?
Pretty good. um, So we have put up an exhibition of your work at the Art Gallery of Hamilton this past fall, 2020. And it's down now, but we morphed it into an online exhibition. So I wanted to talk to you today and share the link with everyone who wants to watch the online version of the show. So everything that you could see in the gallery is available now on Vimeo. It's about 2 hours of Nora's work. And I really want to explain to people a bit about where you're coming from with your practice and then hear from you about your process and where your work has come since then. So we started sort of in the early days of video art with this exhibition. You were just attending your undergraduate studies when video art became an option.
Yep.
And I know you had a musical background before then. So can you sort of set the stage and let us know what was sort of happening that drew you into video art?
Yes, I was studying music and psychology at University of Guelph, and it was just the tail end of I just had one more course to pick up, and I thought it would be like a bird course, like flower arranging or video art, this thing called video art. I took video art and I was so surprised. It was the most challenging course I'd ever had. And but I really liked it because I could put my music background with, or other sound works with an image.
Mm-hmm.
So it married the two, and it was perfect for me.
What is your music background?
It's an opera. My grandmother taught us all, and other people like Phyllis Mailing, Murray Schaefer's wife, and put them through their ARCTs. But for her grandchildren, she taught us out of her home. She also taught at the Hamilton Conservatory. And I went to Banff School of Fine Arts to study opera
Mm-hmm.
under Ernesto Vinci. And she, in 1910 and 1911, when she was like 19 years old, she was over in Italy studying opera.
Wow. What was her name?
In Florence, yeah.
What was her name, Nora?
Um, Bertha Carey Morrow.
Beautiful.
And you can see her photo in the conservatory, Hamilton Arts Conservatory, and my great uncle Bruce, who was Carey as well.
Wow.
So opera was my upbringing,
Mm-hmm.
and classical music, and you know, and that's probably why it's called rebel opera, because at a certain place in your life, you're trying to get away from it because it's not cool when you're 13, or you don't want to be doing it. But then since then I've been trying to not subvert opera, but be inclusive and involve it in other ways and forms.
It really comes across, yeah,
Yeah, good.
in all of your work. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the exhibition starts out, the earliest work is 1977, I think. It's called
Yep.
C'est un jeu de mémoire, or It
Right.
Was a Memory Game.
Yep.
One of my favorite pieces. And so you've created this really mesmerizing melody. You show yourself. It's kind of like one of those collaged video pieces where you show yourself playing an organ, I think,
A pump organ.
pump organ. So there's this really mesmerizing melody, and then you're playing the pump organ, but it's dead.
At some point, if you pump it and you can hear the melody. If you don't pump it and you just clack the keys, which I do later on in the tape, then you just get the clacking of the keys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think in all of your work, we end up realizing as the work goes on, there's always this really strong foundation of music, or opera,
Yeah.
and sense of composition, and then there's some sort of subversion that happens, like you just said,
Uh-huh.
and it's captured through video. I guess that's one sort of category of your work, and the video is an experimental media that allows you to bring in all these different elements, but also play with them aesthetically, like visually on the screen
Yep.
through editing.
Yep.
So that's kind of one element of your practice, and then later in the show we see, like, through the years. So, and I know a lot in the 90s you started making, um, directing performances and creating them collaboratively with people that would be performed live, and
Mhm.
then you sort of document them through video so that we can kind of see that more theatrical, um, element as well.
Yes, I have a group that I work with, and they've done In Safe Places with me, and it was a performance first, and then it was a video, and then we did Hunnen and Munnen, and then we did Angel Blown Backwards into the Gluck of Lake Ontario. I've known them for years, and they have various backgrounds, and they're just very cool people. So it's kind of like a family.
Hmm.
And we did a lot of the shooting for Angel Blown Backwards in 2019. So that's why you see that they're not wearing masks.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Hmm.
Yeah, and getting back to those, the early sort of days, like I know you were, like you said, you're sorting out who you want to be coming out of this background with opera. Um, how do you think video kind of worked as a medium for you? Like I know many artists at the time. So video art, first of all, um, is an experimental media. I'm telling not you, the audience,
Hmm.
that people were able to access, once the technology became more readily available to consumers. And a lot of artists took it up as a way to combat mass media and TV, which was so pervasive at the time. Um, and it's so different now because I know not a lot of people watch TV anymore. We're thinking more about internet culture and how we can
Yeah.
combat that. But video art, in contrast to TV and mass media at the time, was kind of a perfect vehicle for you, I think, because you were all of a sudden mobile and able to record yourself, and it kind of landed at this moment where you wanted to, um, experiment with self-representation anyways, it sounds like.
Right. Those were the early works. Yes, for sure.
Mhm.
Um, and when it became available, the porta packs were pretty heavy, and it wasn't really mobile per se, but then it got easier and easier as time went by. The recorders, or then you could record within the camera, and it was more portable, and then you had actually more freedom.
Mhm. You want to do a little pop quiz?
Okay,
I brought
I'll
some
show
props.
you. At VHS.
Speaking of recording devices,
Yes.
for those who may not be familiar with,
Okay, I got to show mine too.
okay, what did you bring?
This is
That
what we used to use, these huge U-matic 3/4 inch tapes.
is
And
that
they were really, really heavy.
is that what goes in a porta pack? Is that what you're saying?
No, they're huge machines. They're huge machines. Anyway, that was our first editing machine.
Okay, what's this?
An MP30, yeah. That's the next thing along after the VHS.
Actually quite small.
Yeah.
Gets smaller and smaller. What's this?
And that's the same kind of thing. I It just depended on the camera.
Mini DV.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you had to save it.
Onto CDs, and then onto flash drives now.
And flash drives. Yeah, this is a mini disc.
Yeah.
If anyone watching this video would like to say in the comments, if you knew what all these were, then you will win a prize. I'll send you a prize. That's our pop quiz. I
Okay.
think that's all I have. Okay. Can you tell us about, so everyone can watch your work from 1977, and the latest work we have in the show is what, 2006 maybe? That's a guess. Anyways, you have
It's
made,
If You Hate This Planet is the last one, right?
yes,
In the show.
yeah,
I don't know when I did
we'll
it.
look it up. We should know that.
I know.
But since
I could
then,
look it up.
okay, I could look it up too. Okay, so the exhibition basically covers 4 decades, the major themes being what we've already talked about, plus your later work really rotates a lot around environmental crisis.
Yeah.
Um, and and still, that's what you've been focused on lately. So can you tell us about your most recent work?
Yes, it's called Angel Blown Backwards into the Gluck of Lake Ontario. We just call it the Gluck video now for short. And it's about, well, the angels are Tor and Tor Lucasapas and Chris Aidney, Wax Manigan, and Tor Tiny Bill Cody. And they're the angels. And I wrote a song for them about the Gluck in Lake Ontario. And then they also do a performative piece, which is Chris Aidney wraps himself in plastic while playing a guitar, and he does it beautifully. And he he wraps it like right over his head. You're afraid he's going to suffocate, but anyway, he didn't suffocate because he's still here. And Tor is doing an ad lib um, speech about positivity, which is a nice combo because he's talking about the possibility of positivity. Well, Chris is actually being buried in plastic like we all are these days. And then the women are the seamstresses, and they are pretty busy sewing the world back together. And it's symbolized in them sewing birch bark back onto the birch bark trees or onto other trees, and sewing leaves and acorn and pine cones onto dead trees.
Mhm.
And then the only other real important element of that is that it's an upside down umbrella, and that's the narrator. It functions as a narrator.
Hmm. So it sounds like a super complex script that is really in keeping with all your work. And I was wondering how this comes to be. Like, how do you, as an author, I guess, how long are these stories germinating for you? And then by the time you make the piece, does it end up being that the story that you imagined, or does it kind of morph along the way?
Can I just say that If You Hate This Planet was done in 1997?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So the question was what again? It was how do I morph?
You have, okay, all of your works have really complex stories,
Yes.
and which is interesting actually, and sets your work apart because that is a consistent characteristic of your practice. Yet video art is often non-narrative. So would you say, I'm asking a bunch of questions now, but what can you say about your work being non-narrative?
Non-linear.
Non-linear.
It's narrative, but it's non-linear, and
Mhm.
it kind of fuses things together in an unconventional way. And I write poetry, and I write scripts, and I write the lyrics to the songs, and then I kind of mush them together, and and it's harder than you think,
Mhm.
because you can put this particular item here, or you could put it here, or there's three places you could put it, or you could, then it becomes a puzzle, and you have to, for editing,
Mhm.
and you have to, and there's a lot of mistakes, and then you have to say, oh, okay, I can't use that this time. Um, I couldn't use a lot of footage actually this time that I had taken, but maybe another time. Um,
And is that your decision ultimately, or are you working with your collaborators a bit for that part?
I make the decisions, and Jeff Bird, d- we edited together, but I told him what I wanted, and then it was nice because we had a dialogue between each other. Said, do you think that works there? Or should we give that one more beat, or, 2 more seconds, or, should we edit here? Or, but the consecutive pieces were my decision, right?
Hmm. And do you know what you're going to make next?
And maybe the Joseph Boys, take on Joseph Boys, um,
The one about
talking
the
to
hair?
talking to a dead hare. No, is that it?
I think so.
Talking. Anyway, it's close enough. Talking to a
Mhm.
dead hare. No, I don't think that's the title, but anyway, it's good enough. Which would be sort of more about COVID and the new shutdown and the new emergency, stay at home.
Mhm.
And it is like talking to a dead hare uh, y- when when you can't converse with people as much and you cannot articulate how you're feeling and things like that. So you're kind of isolated. So you might as well talk to a dead hare, which
Mhm.
isn't listening anyway. So it would be a very simple conceptual piece, I think. I would
Mhm.
just go back to basics. I wouldn't worry about too much editing.
Mhm.
I say that now, though.
Does it always kind of start that
Things
way?
gather. Yeah.
Okay, I can't wait to see that. I know it's going to be good.
Mm, thank you.
Did you have anything else that you wanted to add?
Um, no, just about the process of how I work. And that's just, it's kind of like I don't really know how I work. Tor asked me and it's kind of like it just pops out like a phrase or a lyric or a part of a song or a concept or a thought. It'll get in there with my grocery list and things like that. And that's how I work. It's very nascent and very nebulous at the beginning, and then it's like pulling a thread kind of to just stretch it out a bit and then add on a few little things, and that's kind of how I work.
Mhm.
Hmm. And I can always tell when it's right for me because I become very alert and very still in
Hmm.
my body and my mind. So I think, okay, um, that's definitely in.
Wow.
And if it's just waffling around inside of me, I think, yeah, I don't know,
Got to keep going.
refining
Mhm.
or subverting or yeah, that kind of thing.
Mhm. Okay.
Great.
Well, I can't wait to see what comes next.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for your time today, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Okay, thanks, Melissa.
Thanks.
Bye bye.